You want to look natural, right, with your hands, and sometimes that can be really difficult when you're reading a script because, like I said, at least with me, I use my hands when I'm reading a script to like help me verbalize and help me enunciate and help me, use the right inflection. But that doesn't mean that it looks right, when you're watching me do that. So, Chris, what's your typical approach to what to do with your hands when you're reading a script or delivering a memorized script, I guess.
It's hard because most people don't think about how they look when they talk. I mean, it's just not, we don't live our lives with a mirror in front of us, so we don't think about that. But when you get restraints, you start to respond to those restraints. So like if you're on camera, you might start thinking about it. So you tone down what you might do or whatever, or you might not know what to do with your hands. So because of that, they're completely untied and you do things you would never do, weird hand gestures, or you're stiff as a board and it doesn't make any sense. And I think that for me, I always ask you, do you speak with your hands? And a lot of people that do use their hands to express themselves know that because they probably hit coffee out of someone's hand before or smack someone while they're doing it. I've been there. And so I think it's one of those, it's something to be aware of. But the hard thing is you don't want to be like Mike would, he will punctuate like that. So it might be that the movement's too fast. It might be that he's doing it too many times. Or it might just be that it looks strange. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why what we want to do. I recommend for a lot of people because having a little pressure on your hands will actually allow you to not have to think about what they're doing, but it will also allow you to quickly go, I know where my hands are. I mean, as strange as that seems, is when you're on camera and you have the pressures of all these other things. You're not in control of everything. You're just, there's certain things that just got to go on autopilot there. And so I always do the Mr. Burns, but down by your belt. And that I learned from reporters, doing promos and they always knew the right way, but they also knew the right cant. They knew the side of their face that looked good. These is actors in general should know these things about themselves. But down to like, I remember ladies knowing how to cross their legs so they look thinner, or the angle so they look, they always, it reminds me of when you're doing selfies or, the whole Instagram game of like, trying to look good where you are. I think people are a lot more aware of that than they ever have been before, of like, oh, I can, if I just do this in the right angle, everybody will think I'm, a movie star or something. But, if you actually saw them, I always think of those weird memes that the girl is doing, pushing her chin down to her neck. And then the next picture is beautiful. Is just, if you don't have control of yourself, or if you don't know how that goes, or you haven't been down that road, it is something that you need to like figure out for yourself. Because some people talk with their hands and that's fine. That might be a problem depending on the production. So, if you're shooting something and the hands would get in the way of the lens, between the lens and the subject, that's a problem. We don't want all of a sudden having blurry things go into the frame that no one knows what they are. That's a problem. But you don't want them looking like a spaz. I definitely like, some people get chicken wings, it's the hands. There's just lots of ways to have it. And not everybody can do the same things and look well doing them either. So it's like, get a feel of what it takes for you. Do you need to have that pressure on your hands? Some people, interlock their fingers. Sometimes you do this, if you want to do like the politically correct, like point, it's the Bill Clinton with your thumb out.
Yeah. Never point with your finger, right?
Yeah. You don't want to point. That's rude, but you
that's
can do
accusatory.
This. Yeah, exactly. But you can go, I'm not going to even say it. But anyhow, you just got to know what it is. And also, if you aren't the one shooting it, so like in my case, I know what my framing looks like, and I usually have a monitor so I can see what it looks like, so I know where's there. But it's the old story of like the anchor doesn't ever wear pants. Like they're always in shorts, in like gym shorts, and then a nice suit with a fake tie and all that kind of stuff. The makeup only goes to the ears, that kind of stuff. I mean, I've even seen like, paper clips or not paper clips, clothespins holding the shirt tighter because they lost some weight and they don't want to buy any suit or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different things that you'll need to know, but what to do with your hands if they're out of frame, like right now, I can move my hands a lot and you can see my arms moving a little bit, but my hands are doing all sorts of stuff. That's okay. My shoulders were, communicating with it. That'd be not as good. But that's why it's nice to have somebody in the room directing you. And that's not necessarily because they're good at directing. This is just observance. This is just watching them. Do you look natural? Do you look good? This isn't rocket science. It's definitely not something that you need a lot of experience doing. It's just more of you're trying to make sure that they're staying as flattering as possible, mostly because the content you're making, you want it to be good. And so to be good, you want to get a good performance. And so that's like you were saying, the director in the room, they're your buddy. They're the one that's going to make you look better than you think you can make. And that's why so many, whenever someone wins an award for an acting award or whatever, they always thank their director and they love them, because it reminds me of me and Nicole as my editor. She makes my words better. Going through her, having her look at them and organize that stuff and go, it is more than I can do on my own. And just that right there will get you a better outcome. So, just even if you have someone there to watch to go, oh, I noticed that, or reading along the script to where you skipped a word, or sometimes it's nice because you're like, oh, I went through it, but I skipped that word. Did it make sense still? They are listening and they go, yeah, it made sense without that word. Cool. We don't have to do it again, or it might be that you have to do the whole takeover again, whatever it is, that having someone in the room. But how to place your feet, I learned this, the first wedding I was ever in when I was 19 is don't lock your knees when you're standing somewhere, especially when you're doing something that makes you nervous because you might just pass out. I didn't, but I remember them giving us that, make sure to keep your knees bent a little bit. You're going to be up here for about 15, 20 minutes. Some people will just keel over because they're hot in their suit or they've been drinking or whatever, but that it's you want to be flattering in there, and be wary of the director that just wants to get it in the can. Sometimes that can happen, just trying to get the project through and get that thing done. So they aren't your buddy. They're just trying to get the thing happening. But usually you can tell that, that's just a quality control issue. And, if you don't think you did it well, ask to do it again. I know if I am on camera, it's really great to try to stay positive while you're doing it. So don't dwell on things that you're doing wrong, and try to be appreciative of the input. So I know that I've had this as actors have been, that they say thank you a lot. Oh, thank you. And then they go into it. And that's not necessarily because they're trying to be over pleasing or whatever, although maybe they were in times, but that it keeps you going, thank you, I'm going to do something with that information and give it back to you. And so, and staying positive like that you're willing and trying to do that best performance, one tells the director one thing, but also for you, keeps you in a better mindset than letting yourself get hung up on the things that you're just trying to do better. Whenever you get a critique from someone, sometimes you can get overwhelmed by what it makes you feel, but they're just trying to make your content better. So if you don't take it personally, then it's not going to be, and that's the same thing. It's harder when it's actually you. You look stupid on camera. We need to do something else. That's kind of a mean way to say it, but I've definitely, that guy's not good on camera.
In those situations, like the best bet is just to say, finish up the project and go, oh, I'm just not going to use that person anymore.
Try someone else or whatever. But
sometimes
when it's yourself, it's really hard to make that choice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. I don't know. It depends on if you like being on camera, right?
Oh, yeah. It's funny because I have I'm confident in what I do. I like to go, I know what I'm doing, and I like to say it, and I like to be able to be confident about knowing my skills and my abilities. And that's not necessarily ego. That's just trying to be confident. But that I don't like the way I look. I don't want to see myself on camera. I really don't love my voice. And so it's hard. You got to stay positive because it's self-loathing somewhat. And as a performer, I think you just got to have a handle on that. Is that,
some people never
while you're performing, the performance is all that matters. I know it reminds me of playing music. If, you play a wrong note, don't let your face show it, and no one will ever know. And so, it's one of those things, whereas if you can, like I said, we were talking about the prompter, if you can get through it and it all seems normal, and you maybe skip some words or you didn't do it the way you thought, but you stayed confident and just kept going, that might be the best take. It might be the most convincing take. So, allowing yourself to make those chances. And it is, there's a lot to be said about the trust and the confidence you have in the people around you, that you can feel as free and as vulnerable as you might need to do a good performance. And allowing yourself to be in that space makes you more relatable, usually, if you're willing to. And it's really easy to do when you're in your room by yourself. But it's, the more people you add in, depending on if they're helpful. I definitely don't want the peanut gallery showing up just to rabble rouse from the corner. No backseat direction needed, but that it's helpful. And some people rise to the occasion under pressure. Other people buckle. Know which one you are. Yeah.
So going back to what you do with your hands, something that I like to do, which helps me a little bit, I think, is to have a prop of some kind. If I can hold something in my hand, like I've been holding this pen this entire time. Not that I'm performing on camera the way I would with, a classic video reading off a teleprompter, but I'm kind of a fidgeter. And so if I can keep something in my hand, it's going to prevent me for the most part of flailing around or what have you, as long as I'm not like doing this the whole time.
Yeah, right. That's my problem. I'd be sitting there clicking it. And
I do this thing like with pens. I'm always like taking them apart and putting them back together.
I have a little Lego guy that I fidget with that is helpful to sometimes just get the brain working.
Yeah. But then if you do that, it really has to be kind of appropriate to whatever the theme of your video is, right? Like it would be weird if you were shooting the video, the course that we did recently on church video production, and you were like holding a Lego guy the whole time. Like, what's with the Lego guy?
I mean, I don't hold a Lego guy. You don't actually ever see that. But yeah, it's I mean, if it's not appropriate, it ain't going to work. I think on the last one we were talking about Bob Dole, but that was more because his arm's always there. Yeah. So it was more to make his arm physically look like he was doing something. So he's holding a pen. There's nothing wrong with his arm. Whereas, it's like, no, it was stuck that way.